Good afternoon. My name is Caio Oliveira. I'm from Brazil. I'm part of the VMware Cloud on AWS team. And today I will be talking about integrating VMware Cloud on AWS with VMware vRealize automation and cloud automation services. Better, integrating VMC with VRA and CAS, right? So I'll be using the terms VMC, VRA, and CAS during the presentations, right? So my plan here during this session is to guide you through a little recap about VMware Cloud on AWS. Then I go through how is the integration between VRA and VMC, and then the integration with CAS and VMC, okay? So let's go. A quick recap on VMC. So this is a joint engineered solution between VMware and AWS to deliver the best of both worlds to our customers, right? What are the main benefits here, right? The first one, we are delivering the SDDC, our soft-defined data center, as a service on AWS infrastructure, right? First point, we will have the same technology, so the consistency and the familiarity between the technology are the same. Also, I can easily migrate the workloads to have hybrid capabilities, so I can do a vMotion from my data center to VMC and also return this workload if I need as well. But this is not only a hybrid solution with VMware technology. We are enabling customers to have a direct access from the workloads that are running on VMware Cloud on AWS with native AWS services, right? And here you can leverage or use your traditional workloads or even your new workloads in VMC and consuming AWS services, right? So what we have in VMware Cloud on AWS, we have our three main products, three main solutions. Is vSphere, that creates an abstraction of the compute, vSAN for the abstraction of the storage layer, and NSX doing the abstraction of networking and security. Okay, this delivered as a service on AWS. Okay, what's the architecture of this solution? To create a hybrid solution, the minimum requirements is that on my data center, I should have vSphere and vSAN. vSphere and vCenter, okay? Inside AWS Global Infrastructure, what I'm gonna have? I will have vSphere, vSAN, and NSX, and we created we developed a technology called hybrid linked mode, so you can link the two vCenters to have a single pane of glass to operate and support your environment, right? And we also create an integration with AWS native VPC, so I can have a connectivity between my workloads, my VMs that are running inside the SDDC and AWS services. Of course, here, all of our ecosystem and also our solutions like the vRealize suite work seamlessly in both environments, okay? What are the main use cases that we target with VMC? First one is data center extension, right? Even if I have a limitation on my data center, or even if my strategy to move from a CAPEX model to an OPEX model, right? Another point, really interesting, I can leverage VMC as a disaster recovery site. We have DRS as an add-on to the solution. For cloud migration, if I want to migrate something that I have in a data center to the cloud, a full migration or a partial migration, doesn't matter. And of course, I can leverage that for next generation applications, right? This is really important. VMC is a service that's delivered, operated, and supported by VMware. But both VMware and AWS can sell this service, okay? And right now, we are almost in all AWS regions, right? In Q1 and Q2, we did a lot of improvement, especially in LATAM, my area. And we have now available in São Paulo data centers, but also we span over Canada, Europe, and Asia Pacific as well, okay? So this was a really short overview about VMC, because this session is all about the integration with VMC now to automate the workloads, right? VMC brings a lot of automation for the infrastructure piece, but I still need automation for my workloads, right? So first part, integrating with vRealize. What's vRealize in like really summary vRealize? vRealize is our automation and cloud management solution that I can create. Even if I have a private cloud or even using public clouds, I can create an abstraction and do that for IaaS, infrastructure as a service, or PaaS, platform as a service. And then I can create an access layer, then I can expose as a catalog for my IT, for my administrators, or even I can expose as a CLI or API directly for my developers, right? For the purpose, if you want to take one slide for vRealize integration, this is the slide, right? Since on VMC we are running vSphere, the integration that I have is the same one that I do in my data center, right? What I need to do, I create a VMC endpoint as a vStandard server, right? Then I add the URL for my vCenter and the credential. Then it's done. Right? I would dig into that step by step on how to do it, right? So let's go. Let's do. I have a lot of screenshots here, so follow me. So the first part, as I pointed, we have to go to infrastructure, get to endpoints, and create a virtual vSphere vCenter endpoint. Next step, you put a name that you prefer. You can put vCenter, VMC, or just vCenter. Put the URL and your credentials. Here on VMC, we have the cloud admin at vmc.local credential that I have to use to link to vRealize. Next step, and here just a screenshot that this is done. Next step, I have to, if I don't have yet, I'll create a fabric group. So inside infrastructure, fabric group, I create a new fabric group. I put a name, I select who will be the administrators for this, and then I will select the compute resources that I need. On VMC, I can have on my SDDC one or more clusters, so here I can select one or more clusters the way I want. So done the fabric group part. Next step is to create a network profile, right? Right now, we don't have the same integration that we have with NSX on premises, so we need to have pre-built all the networks. So here I'm creating an external network. I'm putting a name, giving a gateway. I can add also other information related to network range, DNSs, because I will associate that with a logical switch that I can see on VMC, right? So I have here created my external network, and the last point for the infrastructure piece is to create the reservation. So the reservation, I create the same way I created on the, if I have a traditional vSphere environment on my own premises. So new vSphere, then I will put the name, I will select the business group that I want. On resources, I will select one or more clusters that I want, and I will decide which will be the reservation, especially for memory. Storage is really important. We always need to use the workload that store that we have. bSAN that store is for our management VMs, okay? And also I have to select the resource pool. The resource pool should be the compute resource pool or a sub-resource pool that is in this environment, okay? And here, this is the important piece. I can select the network and then associated the network profile. So here I'm associating with a network, a pre-built network with an external network profile, right? And here I have my reservation created successfully. Next step is go to create the blueprint itself, right? So I go to the design tab, blueprints, new blueprint, and give a name. The name here, I use it VMC. And when I get into the canvas, I can select a vSphere machine, drag and drop, put an ID name, and in this case here, I'm cloning a template that I have, right? So here I have a template Ubuntu, and what's really interesting, the same customization specifications that I have on premises, I can leverage here because it's vSphere on both sides, right? But here, this is really important. On the properties, different from the on-prem that you can create the machines into the root folder, here you cannot. On VMC you cannot. So you have to create a custom property, is vmware.virtualcenter.folder, and put a value. Here the default value you should add is workloads or a subfolder inside the workloads. Okay? With that, I have my blueprint done. Of course, don't forget to publish this blueprint. And the next step is to add this blueprint to a catalog, to create a service and then add to the catalog, right? So coming back to the administration tab, go into the catalog management service, create new service, then you put a name, the status active, of course, and we need to manage to include the items, right? So here I will include the blueprint that I just created, the VMC blueprint, and we are ready on the service part. Last step is to create the entitlement. So new entitlement, the name here, I'm being very creative here, VMC all the way, right? So VMC on the name of the entitlement, I choose the service, the VMC service that I created, and all the entitled actions. Since this was like a lab, my lab, I put it all the actions, but of course here you can be more selective. Now, everything is ready. What I need to do is to go into the catalog and do a request of this blueprint, right? So I will do a request, I will select the number of the deployments that I want, and hit submit. With that, VRA will start the provisioning of this blueprint, and in some minutes I will see my virtual machine power on in my traditional vSphere environment. That's the same technology that we are running on VMC, right? I know that's a lot of steps, but the idea here is to show you that's the same way that you do into your environment today, we are going to do in VMC as well, okay? So, next part, integrating now with Cloud Automation Services, CAS, right? CAS has the similar principles and similar ideas that I have with VRA, but CAS is composed with three components. I have Service Broker, that is my multi-cloud catalog. I have Cloud Assembly, that will do the multi-cloud and application automation piece. And I will have also CodeStream for the pipeline, for continuous delivery pipeline, right? This is like a brief summary if you want. There's a lot of sessions regarding Cloud Automation Service that I strongly recommend you. But here I'm going to show you how is Cloud Automation Service integration with VMC. Those two slides, this one and the next one, are the most important you to understand how is the integration between Cloud Automation Service and VMC. Inside infrastructure, on connections, I have cloud accounts. And I already have a VMware Cloud and AWS cloud account there. With that, I can add my API token, put a lot of information regarding the names, my credential as well, and we need also to deploy a cloud proxy. This is a virtual machine that will be deploying on your environment to get connectivity between Cloud Automation Service and your environment in VMware Cloud on AWS, right? This is a simple OVA. You put some simple information and you can do the connections, right? So here, as we did for vRealize, we are going to do the same for VMC and Cloud Automation Service, CAS. Here, okay, again, in Cloud Assembly, I go through infrastructure and then go to cloud accounts. Here I will put my API token and all my credentials. With that, I have linked my account in VMware Cloud and AWS with Cloud Assembly, right? Next step, I can create a new project in Cloud Assembly or just edit an existing one. For example, I can have this lab one that was a project for my private data center and for AWS, for example. I can add VMC as another cloud zone. How I do that? I go into provisioning, add cloud zone. When I do add cloud zone, I will select exactly the data center that I have in VMC. I click add, and here on the compute, this is interesting. I can create a capability tag to associate that directly to VMC. What can I do is just to select the clusters. Here, really important. Remember on the vRealize that I need to use the compute resource pool? Here's the same. Or the compute resource pool or the pools or the sub-pools that are part of the compute resource pool. And then I create a tag. For example, here, cloud VMC tag. Okay? Next step is to add the flavors. I can create a new flavor or I can edit a new one. Here I already have a small flavor that, for example, here I can see I have T2 micro for AWS. I have details for my on-premises implementation. And here I can choose, for example, 1 CPU and 1 gig of RAM for my small on what I consider on VMC, right? Next step, the same, really similar. I can have like a lot of image mappings. I have a Ubuntu mapping here. Then I can use a template that I have on VMC, right? And as I did on vRealize, I have to create a network profile as well. So new network profile here. I will select exactly the cloud zone or the regions that I have. And then I will add the network, right? Here I can select the networks that are created on VMC, and I can edit and add more information related to domain, default gateway, DNS service, everything that I want to when I provision in this will have this information, these properties, okay? The infrastructure part is ready. We need to go to the design part. On the design, I go to blueprints, new blueprint, and I created here the name, VMC demo, and I choose the project that this blueprint will part of. Here, I can drag and drop vSphere machine, right? And on the right side, I can type my properties. For example, the image, remember, I'm using Ubuntu image. The flavor, I'm using small. And here is really important. Remember on the vRealize, the custom property, here I have to do the same for the folder custom property. But here we can just type folder name and see workloads or a subfolder inside workloads, right? The number of instances here, count 1, and also the constraint for Cloud VMC that will entitle and force that to be provisioned on VMware Cloud on AWS, right? So with that, we can deploy. So I put here a VMC deployment name and hit deploy. With that, Cloud Assembly will start creating everything. We start provisioning this virtual machine inside VMware Cloud on AWS, right? So after a few minutes, I will have my cloud vSphere machine with all the properties and everything that I did on the blueprint side, right? And here it took about, depending on the size of and all the customizations you do, this in case for me it took like 2 to 3 minutes to create this virtual machine, right? And just to finish this and to summarize, both vRealize automation and cloud automated service can be your automation platform for even private cloud, for VMC or any other cloud that's running VMware, and also public clouds, right? Of course, one, you have VRA, you consume that as on-premises with license-based. Cloud automation service is a SaaS solution that we have, right? With that, I would like to thank you very much, and if you have any other question, I'll be around here. Thank you.